I live in Imperial Valley is uh, low population, very empty, very large area, uh, and agricultural focus. We're on the border, so the predominant employer here is agriculture industry. We get 3 growth cycles a year. After that, it's sort of government, law enforcement, because we're on the border. We have prison here, and the uh, after that the mining and the tourism is the sort of only other industry to make money in my community. Now, a developer came along saying, "Hey, let's put a hyperscale data center where you live," and a grassroots movement got started, educated the public about what this meant, and I, agreed that hey, this would increase our utility rates. We're a poor community; people here can't afford. I'm a member of the electricians union. I would love to build this data center because of the challenge it presents in terms of like where we live is right over an active fault line. It's extremely hot here. The humidity and air quality is really bad. You'd have to create a hermetically sealed space to put the computers inside of, have that place be cooled because of just how much heat all those computers are going to generate. So it's just you're just increasing how much electricity usage is going into this machine or into this complex, which means the water usage is going to go way up for cooling. And you have to, just the seismic reinforcements for this place, because I have survived through a 7.2 earthquake, the second story of a wooden house. That I'm like, I think this thing is going to come down. It's like so to protect the electronic equipment, we get 3.5 earthquakes regularly. You feel it. So what's going to happen is in the building now, I'm a nerd. I'm a science fiction nerd. I was sitting at the county supervisor meeting where they said data centers would be part of legislation that's offered, and I thought, oh, that's neat, that's interesting. But us being agriculture focused and located away from places like San Diego, Los Angeles, Silicon Valley, we don't have the technology sort of infrastructure base, personnel, body pool. We live next to Mexicali, Mexico, Baja California, Mexico, which is about 500,000 people in the city, almost 1 million people when you include the expanded area or territory, but that's a maquiladora manufacturing location, or assemblage location. So materials coming in there, being put together, brought across here. That's also the source of our farm labor for not just Imperial County, but all of locations in Southern California. People are riding buses for 3 to 4 hours to fields north. And it's fuel saving the economy. It's going to be important. But what for hyperscale data center, it doesn't make sense for where we live. Like I said, I'm a nerd. I'm a science fiction nerd. I am of the opinion that, well, so AI, hyperscale, limited language models, um, ChatGPT, the imagery and sound production and reproduction, like this AI deepfakes, like so, all this amazing technology. Um, who wants it? Well, cities, universities, businesses, places. So places where there's a lot of people, they're going to want these data centers and what they mean for the community. I'm of the opinion, because the hyperscale is nerds saying like, hey, let's make this big thing, show off how smart we are. Instead, and because of where we live is small population, this is above our city, county, grade. This is for the federal and state level to decide. Based on how large the city is, they can get a data center, and the size of the data center, you find the average price single family home and what is the average sort of square footage for that home. That square footage is the footprint for what the data center can occupy. So wherever the data center is allowed to be constructed, how big can it be? It's the size of a single family residential home in that community. Or so like that city, in a sense. That's the footprint. That's so so it's understood like, okay, that's the shell in terms of what can be built. How tall it is the city community ordinance. How deep they go, same thing, community city ordinance. So that's the shell you can create and build inside it. Now cram as many computers inside of there. The electricity usage will be less. The noise generation will be less. The heat generation will be less. The impact on the community will be less. And on top of that, because I'm watching what's going on around the world, I'm also noticing the idea, because if you have a hyperscale and where we live, if we were to be hit by a 7.2 or stronger earthquake, and it were to disable the hyperscale data center that was built here, well, that takes an offline. So, is that smart thinking in terms of how to approach like customer satisfaction and customer availability access? To me, it makes sense to, if you build a community neighborhood size data center and just mandate at the federal and state level, okay, the city or the federal says, hey, the states mandate what goes on in their state. The state then says, okay, the city has to be this population, million of people plus, or 500,000 people plus, 100,000 people plus. That's who can get a data center. And as a result, is as you increase the size of, or decrease the size requirement, the more cities that become available for a data center. It makes sense because you are going to employ or keep employing a local electrical company to contract to help in maintaining that facility. Conceivably, the facility will have at least one or more electricians on staff, if they know that, hey, we need, we're going to need more, or whatever sort of emergency maintenance, they're going to contract out with a local company. So that way, if the data center goes offline, it's brought back online quickly. That's just smarter return. What else? But yeah, that's my idea of like a reasonable solution for the data centers. Don't go hyperscale, go neighborhood size. Federal government says, hey, states, you decide if you want what you want to do with the data center, and the states then decide, okay, these are the cities, this size city can have data centers, because we determine the impact and the need, and it's sort of have the expert analysis in terms of like, okay, what's going on. And the reason why you have it in the city, not at these remote locations, is one, latency. It's you have laying down the costly fiber and other material to. It's like, okay, oh yeah, we're gonna build this amazing technological thing in a remote location. The technology is great. How do you get the information? Because this is an information processing center. Well, you're gonna have it go through a cable, or project. And people think, oh well, wireless projection, it sounds great. You're actually kind of limited in terms of how much data goes through wirelessly. There's also latency with that, but because the internet, surprisingly, it is a couple unique hubs around the world, and you're adding, data center in a sense is adding a line to one of those hubs. Since that makes the most sense in terms of like, where's the data coming through? It's one of these major hubs. There's one for the west coast of the United States, California. Like there's a hub for Hawaii. There's a hub in Japan. There's a hub. Like it's like how is it? There's a hub for Cuba, and that's how Cuba's able to control the data going in and out. But anyways, it's the state decides what size city can have the data center. Thus, the project comes before that city. The city then decides, like, okay, we understand what data center means, what impact it's going to have. So the state will help handhold and lead and sort of bring in the developer, and then establish the local relationship, and help create a smooth integration process. Because if we're using this tool, and this is the infrastructure and mechanism to support that tool, it makes sense to have the data centers with us. They are safe. We have, because when you're working with the union, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, my local chapter 569, we just make sure to always be following safety standards, procedures. You have an individual who's assigned to make sure that the safety standards, procedures are followed, as the double check. That's like you do right the first time, and it is faster and smarter and cheaper because you're saving yourself from lawsuits and liability and paying more down the road. You want to be known for putting out a good product, So, anyways, the neighborhood-sized data center, it comes to your community, or it comes to the cities, because the cities is who wants that service, that product. Um, the and as a result, if that city suffers tornado, fire, earthquake, power outage, and that data center goes offline or doesn't go offline, or loses connectivity to uh, the World Wide Web, the internet, um, the for the investors of the data centers, for the investors of that company, for the customers of that company, because if whatever company builds a hyperscale data center here, and we suffer this major earthquake, taking that hyperscale data center offline, and then the world is like, oh, hey, so and so, your service is terrible on the Chat GPT, and like nobody makes the connection that there was a major earthquake that is connected to why you lost that amazing, service and tool. But I think that's just the way you embrace the technology and the like how the technology is supposed to fit and connect with us in society. It's like we're living in the future, and the future is going to come forward whether we want it to or not. So, and it's up to us to figure it out. Because it's the idea of like no data centers, like it never sat quite right with me. It sounded like, wait, there's something about this. And that's why, like, okay, go to the hyperscale data center. Or, and again, for the reasons of, hey, electricity and water usage. The poor, blighted economic community. We don't exactly have the means to accommodate that. Especially if, anyways, I hope my idea of reasonable solution makes sense. What do you guys think?